Hello Mzansi, welcome back to Farmers Inside Track, your favorite podcast for everything farming, food and agribusiness. Well, at least I hope that's the case. My name is Duncan Masiwa and I'm your co-host for this episode. And what I can tell you is that this is a bit of a special one. I'm not alone. I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Patricia Tembo.
That's right, Duncan. And we're celebrating our 500th episode. Yay!
Yay!
And can you believe it, Duncan? Listen, 500 episodes of sharing farmer stories, expert advice, and so many laughs and lessons along the way.
Definitely. I think we need sort of a bell in the background, just celebrating the excitement that we are feeling. 500 episodes. It's quite a big achievement for us, looking at where we started. It's been a wild ride. And, we couldn't have done it without you, our amazing listeners. So first off, a massive thank you to everyone who tunes in every week. You guys really are the stars of the show, I would say.
True. And you know what's so amazing about Farmers Inside Track? We're international. All over the world.
Yeah.
Not just South Africa. We've got listeners in North America, Canada, the US, Mexico.
It's crazy, right? So I'm always thinking, whenever I see the analytics, Patricia, I'm always wondering, for what reason on earth would the guys in Mexico be listening to our Farmers Inside Track? Well, that's absolutely right. We've also got the folks in South America, Brazil, listeners from Argentina, Colombia as well. The Farmers Inside Track love definitely is global, Patricia.
And even in Europe, so UK, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, even Norway, Sweden, the countries where English was not even the first language, like Finland and Turkey. I think it's amazing. It's really cool.
It definitely is. And our African family is quite strong as well, all the way home here in South Africa. We've also got listeners in Nigeria, Egypt, Kenya, Sudan, Algeria, Morocco, and even Ethiopia. So thank you for all our listeners from various corners of the country for constantly tuning into us.
And we can't forget about the East. That's Asia, Russia, China, India, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Oh my gosh, it's really cool that we've reached the ends of the globe.
I cannot almost believe how far we've come. Because remember, Patricia, you recently joined us, but Food from Zanzi started the podcast just before COVID-19 times. And we started it with WhatsApp recordings. So we would literally interview our experts via WhatsApp. And that's how it started. And the journey has been absolutely amazing. We recently won the 2024 Best Podcast in the World as awarded by One IFRA. For those of you who regularly tune into the show, you'll know that was awarded by One IFRA. And they, of course, are the global organization for the world's press.
So from WhatsApp voice notes to being internationally recognized and awarded, I think that's really amazing. We love to see the growth, but let's take a little trip down memory lane. What's been one of your favorite episodes, Duncan?
Sure. It's not even a tough one. There's definitely a couple of episodes that stand out for me, but unfortunately, because of time constraints, I won't be able to go through all of them. But one of my favorite episodes definitely has to be the one with Ben Otukile. This Northwest farmer and businessman patiently sat in his car for over an hour doing this interview with me. This is late at night. He demonstrated the level of dedication and commitment that I believe characterizes his agricultural and mining empire. Now, what really stood out for me in this episode with Ben is his remarkable journey from engineering to agriculture, a career shift that was driven by passion and vision. Now, his story is so inspiring because it shows how skills from one industry, that being the engineering industry, can be adapted to farming in innovative ways. And he's somehow made it help him grow his agricultural empire. And just the way he applies problem solving and planning and strategic thinking from his engineering background to his maize and livestock business, I think is a perfect example of how diverse expertise can actually strengthen agriculture.
Just an interesting story about this farming journey of mine. when I was still in the mines, I started buying one cow. I bought a pregnant cow at the time, and currently I'm sitting just over 200 cattle. That was more than a decade ago. I started this, and when you started the farming business, the guys will tell you that, this is the biggest gambling game in the world. And most of the guys will say, but we want to get into property. Why would I take my money and put it in the field? And I just had the love of farming. So I started with mixed breed, and with time, I started trying to probably research and understand what breed performs better where, and which breed can give me what I would want to achieve. Farming is a business. Eventually, you want to be able to sell a winner at the maximum price. And Bosmara was probably the only cattle breed that was of my interest. And I like the color red. I started changing all this mixed breeds, buying Bosmara cattle, going to different breeders and auctions and all that, and accumulating the bits. And eventually, last year, I registered start with Bosmara. And we got to get an inspector to come and inspect my cattle, and thankfully 90% of my stock accepted as start animals.
We hear many stories of how farmers came from one industry and they shifted into the agricultural sector because of various reasons. And it's always inspiring to see how these individuals are making a success in the agricultural space. I'm sure you yourself have also had similar stories with farmers telling you.
Absolutely. Seeing farmers leveraging their skills in agriculture is actually really something quite inspiring. A podcast that we've done that has really inspired me was with Selena Njana, and she's an agro processor. So she's also known as Selena the Goat. And I think her story is quite unique because she found healing through goat farming. And from that, she's been writing books to educate children about goat breeds and general goat management. But on top of that, she's also in agro processing, as I've mentioned, and she creates skincare products from goat's milk that she outsources. But I think it's just quite amazing that a farmer can, I guess, bring value to their products in so many ways. It's so cool. And her story is very inspiring. I think many farmers and people find healing through agriculture. So it's quite beautiful.
A mother of 5 children, a wife, and also an author that writes stories for children, teaching them about the importance of agriculture as well and goat type breed. We also do some skin products from using a goat milk. As a goat farmer, because remember we're breeding with Buddha goat, we're selling it for meat. We're not having the Senanin goat, which is a goat that's being sold for milk. So it was a very good experiment because through the journey of farming, I've realized that I have to do a little bit of research in goat milk, the benefit of goat milk as well. And also we had a challenge with my family with some skin issues. My kids have a severe eczema and we were going from dermatologist to another. And remember the prescription, we buy time and again, and they were so expensive up until I sit down and realize the benefit of goat milk.
You know what I love about the agricultural sector is that there is something for everyone. If you don't see yourself on a farm somewhere milking a cow or getting your hands dirty, you can embrace the agro-processing side of agriculture. You can be a writer in agriculture. It's definitely one of the key things that we highlight at Food from Zanzi, showcasing the different careers in agriculture. And it's always lovely seeing how that comes through in our storytelling by our amazing group of writers that really do amazing work in finding these gems in various corners of the country. Another episode, Patricia, that really stood out for me was the one with Kinelwe Rapesu. Now, in this podcast episode titled Bouncing Back, Kinelwe rises from the ashes stronger than ever. Now, in this episode, I remember her sharing her remarkable journey of resilience in the face of what at the time looked like significant agricultural setbacks. As the CEO of Mogale Mone and KR Farming Enterprises in Vereniging Gauteng, Rapesu experienced the devastating loss of over half her cattle and pigs due to unforeseen challenges.
Well, I do believe that each and every breed has got its own qualities. But when I chose the Bosmara, what set it apart is that it has got excellent mothering abilities, It copes well under all environmental conditions. For instance, right now, they're facing drought and they're adapting quite well. And an animal that adapts very well in any environmental condition is the reason for their popularity. Bonsmara demonstrate economical importance traits such as their fertility, their growth ability, and exceptional carcasses are meant to beef. So therefore, I need an animal that will produce the best quality of beef. So for me, it was either Bonsmara or Beefmaster. The Bonsmara stands out when it comes to its quality, its mothering abilities, its skin adaptability and all that. So that's why I chose the Bonsmara.
Now, Patricia, you've heard many similar horror stories of farmers putting in their sweat, blood and tears into their farming enterprises only for them to lose it due to natural events, I suppose.
True. It's really wonderful to see how our farmers that are tapped into Farmers Inside Track, how resilient they are, how that has inspired their communities as well, even. And many of them become mentors bouncing back from setbacks. One farmer who has really stood out to me is David Fincham, and he's in an industry that is, I would say, kind of overlooked, and that is the aquaculture industry. So he's the director of David Fincham Aquaculture. And like I said, he's a mentor, but he is also an advocate for policies and food security within South Africa and general agricultural community abroad as well. And he really highlights policies meet the needs of small scale fish farmers. And in the episode that we recorded, he was able to break down the importance of water quality as well. So he has a lot of technical expertise, but the social aspect of the impact that aquaculture has on communities. So he was able to break down the importance of water quality. And we know land cultivation, soil is the medium, but for fish farming, it's water, right? So it was really great to get insights from him. And I know there are probably many farmers who are also looking to diversify, and aquaculture could be one of those avenues.
In terms of uses of resources, aquaculture is one of the least resource-hungry livestock operations that you could actually farm with. So if you have a look at just water use, you know that it takes 750 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of beef, whereas with fish, we only use 20 liters of water. One of the reasons why fish is so great at converting food into weight is that a fish doesn't have to support its body. Its body is supported by water. So it means it uses less energy to go actually find food. When you think of a cow walking in a field grazing, you've got 700 odd kilos of cow that needs to be moved constantly so that the cow can graze. Energy, if you're cage farming, the only energy you're then using is getting feed from the shore to your cages and then fish from your cages to the processing plant. Our systems were designed to be low energy use systems. Because we're farming all over Africa and often in rural communities, and you need to have a very good supply of electricity, which now can come from solar, and also you need to have a very good backup. And so if you're going to back up with a generator, we've designed our system so that you can use the smallest generator possible. But then you can also back up with solar power batteries or with inverters in some cases.
It's still a very small industry in South Africa, unfortunately. I know from the experts that I've interviewed over the past few years, there seems to be a lot of interest, and there also seems a big need for policy support when it comes to the aquaculture industry. Are there any sort of updates or developments that you can share with us in that regard, Patricia?
Well, Duncan, I do know that the Aquaculture Development Bill was something that was brought to Parliament a few months ago, and we're still waiting to see what the final decisions are regarding that. I suppose we'll see, following speeches for the different provinces, what allocations there'll be for the aquaculture industry, even though it does fall under the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment. The aquaculture is a form of farming, and I know fish farmers tend to look toward Department of Agriculture as well for aquaculture supports.
Most definitely, Patricia. I know that fish farmers are always reaching out to us to share their concerns and their frustrations when it comes to that specific sector. So Food from Zanzi will definitely continue sharing those stories. You know what I love, Patricia, about Farmers Inside Track? There's literally something for everyone. So if I just scroll through some of our episodes that we've recently had, we talk about financial solutions for farmers and farm owners. We did an episode with Pay Central, and they had an opportunity to share how their payment module helps farmers make better financial decisions and sort of takes the administration strain away from farmers so that they can actually focus on the work that is important and the work that matters. And that is, of course, farming, right?
What we've tried to do with this portal as well is to make it as user-friendly and as simple as possible so that the older generations could be able to use it, as well as the generations that are coming up, the new generation of farmers that are coming up will obviously more easily adopt to this type of portal. What it does as well, everything is self-service, from requesting quotes for ordering cards online to invoicing. All of those aspects are done online without dependency on us as Pay Central. The only time that they'll contact us is if something is wrong with the system. But again, it makes it easy for them to manage. And we'll also touch on it a bit later in terms of the unbanked market, in terms of how that also solves the problem for allocation.
We also did a fantastic episode on why phosphate matters for cattle and sheep. We also talk about conservation agriculture. I think that's one of the episodes that you did where you looked at practical tips for livestock success. So what I love definitely about our podcast is that there's something for everyone. You can definitely see why we have listeners from different corners of the country. Now, of course, none of this is possible without a very special person that makes all the magic happen behind the scenes. You know, we really can't forget the one person who really works tirelessly behind the scenes to make this podcast happen. And that, of course, is our incredible producer, Megan van der Vent. Again, round of applause. The crowd goes wild. Really, her dedication and creativity and hard work, making every single episode sound amazing, is absolutely phenomenal. So a huge round of applause to you, Megan, for the amazing work that you do behind the scenes.
Megan van der Vent, you are a superstar. Thank you for keeping us on track and making us sound good, almost as good as radio hosts. We're truly very, very grateful for your skills that you bring to Farmers Inside Track, Megan.
Hi, podcast family. Warm greetings from me, Megan, the producer of Food for Mzansi's podcast, Farmers Inside Track. I'm truly honored to be part of this incredible podcast team. It's been amazing to watch our journey, from humble Skype and WhatsApp recordings, from our old features like Mzansi Flavor, book reviews, and farmer tips, to now being an award-winning podcast. A huge thank you to all the farmers, agri-experts, clients, and of course you, our loyal listener and YouTube fam. The podcast is 500 episodes strong and counting, and it's all thanks to your support. Here's a special shout out to our podcast hosts, Duncan Masiwa and Patricia Tembo. And also not to forget our former podcast hosts and contributors, Dawn Numdu, Octavia Spandeel, Nicole Ludolf, Donna van Eden, Kyron Blau, Ivor Price, and Cobus Lawrence. We truly appreciate all your contributions. We got a few exciting surprises in store for our podcast, so stay tuned to find out more. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite platform and share this podcast with your fellow agri-enthusiasts.
We've got a audio from a very special listener here that sent us something. Now, this specific farmer was one of the first farmers that was actually interviewed on the Farmers Inside Track podcast. If I'm correct, she might be interview number 6. That's how far back it goes. Let's quickly listen to Lerato Botha.
Good day, Food for Mzansi. I am Lerato Botha, an agronomist and a herbs and lettuce farmer based in Johannesburg. I'd like to wish the Food for Mzansi family a happy 500th Farmers Inside Track podcast episode. I remember on the 10th of March 2020, it was episode 15, and that happened to be my first ever agricultural interview. At the time, the Food for Mzansi team only consisted of 3 members, which was Cobus, Ivor, and Dawn. I remember being so nervous for that interview, but the Food for Mzansi family really made me feel so comfortable to tell my story and to share my passion of our beautiful, ever-evolving, ever-growing agricultural industry. As I reflect on my time with the Food from Mzansi family, I am so proud of everything that the team has achieved. Being one of the pioneers of telling our agricultural stories, not only in South Africa and Africa, but also sharing our agricultural stories with the world. I want to wish the Food from Mzansi family nothing but the best. May you continue telling our beautiful stories. May you continue inspiring people to join and to partake in the complete value chain of the agricultural industry. And may you as a team continue to grow in leaps and bounds. We want to thank you for everything you have done for us in the industry. May you continue growing in love, in light, and in agriculture.
Absolutely lovely hearing how our Farmers Inside Track podcast have played such an important role in the lives of our farmers. Thank you so much, Lerato Botha. And all I can say to you is keep on listening. What's next for Farmers Inside Track, you might wonder? Well, more expert advice, more farmer stories that you adore and love, and definitely more ways to help you grow personally and professionally.
That is so true. And there may be a few surprises along the way. You might have noticed them, with our more recent episode, but stay tuned.
Most definitely. Before we wrap up, to everyone who's listened, to everyone who's shared an episode and supported us through 500 episodes, thank you. And yes, to the next 500.
Thank you so much, Mzansi, and we'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay inspired, and keep growing and happy farming.
Definitely keep your boots on the ground and your ears on Farmers Inside Track. Cheers.